Alright, y'all, we are live on this beautiful Sunday morning. May God bless everybody in the name of Jesus, Yeshua, the Messiah. Even if you are not religious, I still pray you and your family are super blessed as Bitcoin is printing some warning signals. As the title of this video says, Live Warning, Bitcoin trading millions will be liquidated this week. Oh my goodness, what a sensational dang thumbnail that is. I mean, honestly, that is more sensational than, I don't know, more sensational than the time me and Carl from the Moon went to McDonald's to order a Big Mac meal. And that was a fun time in my life. Don't get me wrong. That was a super fun time. But it was sensational. Let me tell you, the mouths were wide open the whole trip. In fact, we had the lady at the drive-thru just throw the dang Big Macs into our open mouths. We were pointing with our mouth open. They just took the Big Mac like a hibachi steakhouse, man. Shout out to Carl from the Moon, baby. And we got to give a major shout out to everybody in the chat. Major shout out to Joe Potter. Major shout out to Splashfire Films. Major shout out to Vegas Claw. Shout out to Josh Liska. Shout out to HFG. God bless you, my man. Shout out to Dave Chair, man. We're feeling good. Shout out to Oliver Pump Only, baby. Shout out to Kareem Farang from the jungle. Money flow starting to come in. 73K would be a nice entry zone. Don't think we'll get there, but you never know. Absolutely. Cryptorian, absolutely. Absolutely. Shout out to Joe Potter, fill the CME gap. Shout out to Aaron. Hasn't the pullback already started? If you consider this a pullback, man. Does anyone consider this a pullback? Does anyone consider that a pullback? I don't know. We'll talk about it. Also, got to give a major shout to BLOFIN, currently offering 10% cash back. Many chances to win $100 throughout the month, $1,000 future bonus, chance to win all these prizes. Plus, if you use my link for the next 20 days, give or take, you get 0% limit order fees and VIP level 3 market order fees exclusively through the Jason Casper link. Also, got to give a major shout out to ANTARCTIC Exchange. Using my link, you get SVIP privileges, guys. This is a decentralized exchange where you actually own the exchange. You are the market maker. Decentralized, no KYC ever. No chance of your account getting locked, hacked, nothing. Everything's held in your own custody. Gonna change the name of the game when it comes to trading. All right? Now, the Bitcoin price, guys, has been getting a bounce lately, as we know. Last week, we kind of trade in this channel, nothing much. A little bit of a breakout, all right? We gave the long setups in the Casper Crew VIP Discord from 86.4. We gave the long setups from 93.7. All right, so if you're in the Casper Crew VIP Discord at jasoncaspertrading.com, you've been getting in these long trades, but we are currently coming up to an area of resistance on the chart, which is none other than the Fibonacci Golden Pocket retracement. Now, why is this so significant? It is because, guys, if, it's a big if, all right? If the high is in, all right? If this is the top, this is our lower high in this zone here. This is our lower high. Why? That's just how it works. That's just how it works. Most of the time, if you're gonna form a pivot high in a macro change of structure, your retracement is going to come in between the 618 and the 786, and that's exactly where we're at right now. Now, there's a few warning signs on the chart. First of all, we are seeing the 2-day about to print a red dot, the 3-day about to print a red dot. Now, when we come to the daily time frame, we are seeing something a bit concerning. When we come to the 12-hour, we are seeing something a bit concerning. As the price is getting higher into the most important resistance that exists right now on the chart, the momentum waves are getting lower, giving us the dreaded upside down uneven butt cheek pattern. All right? Very scary to see our good friend Party Girl, right? She gets crazy at these wild parties at the club, drink in hand. All right? Nobody expects her to be hanging upside down from the rafters, okay? Because they judge her based on her physique. They say there's no way a woman of this stature could muster enough strength to hang upside down from the rafters. But here's the thing. When you're bullish and you're partying, man, you think things are just going to stay the same forever. You can't picture this girl turning upside down until boom! There she is, upside down, hanging from the rafters at key resistance. What is going to happen here? Well, I'll be honest with you guys. As we're heading into the week, we have to acknowledge that there is an event coming up on Wednesday, which is the FOMC statement, the federal funds rate decision, and the FOMC press conference, which is going to act as a catalyst, given all the craziness that's been happening lately with tariffs, and market volatility. This is going to inject volatility into the market. So, what do we have here? We have a recipe of Bitcoin at key resistance, key level. We have events that are going to trigger volatility in the market. And so we need to be prepared for some volatility. We got upside down uneven butt cheeks. All right? We have to be careful here. Now, are we going to get a pullback from this area? Well, we're going to discuss different possibilities that could be happening today. Now, obviously, I've locked in more profit on the long trade. Lock in a nice $10,000 on our long over here because we're at key resistance. And if you're at key resistance, you can't lock in a few $1,000s. Well, I don't know. I don't know why. I don't know what you're doing, man. You got to lock it in. All right. So we've locked it in. $10,000 realized. Another 5,000 realized over here on Antarctic, up 15K on this move to the upside. All right. And we are interested right now in some intense volatility. Now, there's a few interesting things I'd say about this move. First of all, where did we hit on Friday? We hit the 0.65 Fibonacci, perfect confluence with actually the high volume node of the entire range here. Look at that. Beautiful. Resistance hit to the dang dollar. Okay? Resistance hit to the dang dollar. Now, when we look at market Cipher here, I have to say from the 2-day time frame to the 1-day to the 12-hour to the 8-hour to the 6-hour and especially to the 4-hour, I am seeing bearish signs here. All right? Objectively speaking, money flow is getting lower. Momentum waves are getting lower on the 4-hour time frame. We're seeing it on the 6-hour time frame. We're seeing it on the 8-hour time frame. Money flow divergence, momentum divergence. Not seeing money flow divergence on the 12-hour. But I have to be honest, this to me is looking like a recipe for a pullback. We have a daily bearish divergence. All right, let's just talk about the last few times we had daily bearish divergences. Let's just look. We had a daily bearish divergence confirmed right here. What did it lead to? It led to a week of dumping. All right. We had another daily bearish divergence right here. What did that lead to? That led to 2 days of dumping, 7% pullback. Another daily bearish divergence right here. That led to quite some time of dumping, 17% pullback. Then, of course, we had that final drive of bear div up here, which led to our major move to the downside. Then we had a bullish divergence on the daily, which gave us our big first push up. So, what are we looking at? We are looking at, in my opinion, having printed a bullish divergence on the weekly at this low, having changed market structure on the weekly, making a higher high, having printed multiple bullish divergences on our 3-day, our 2-day, we are coming to a place right now where I'm actually expecting a pullback. Things look on the chart right now to me like we are going to get a pullback. I'm expecting it. All right, I'm expecting downside this week. I could be wrong, but I'm coming out on a limb, guys. This week, I'm expecting dumpage. I'm expecting people to get liquidated. I'm expecting fear, uncertainty, and doubt. Why? Because we are at the most major resistance that is on this chart since our all-time high here in January. And we are seeing the dreaded upside down uneven butt cheek pattern on the daily, the 12-hour, the 8-hour, the 6-hour, the 4-hour. And we have a major news event coming this week within a few days. All right. So when we get this fear move to the downside, what am I looking for? I'm actually still bullish. I'm actually still going to be looking for a bounce like this. I'm still going to be looking for my rounded bottom. Why am I still going to be looking for that? Let's go over the reasons why, even if we get a dump this week, which I expect, I'm still going to be bullish. Reason number one has to be on our weekly time frame. Remember, the higher time frames are king. On our weekly time frame, we are touching the trend line, the bull market trend line, which, remember, the trend is your friend until the end. So you have that good friend, he's always there for you. You expect him to always be there for you. Then one day he stabs you in the back. You say, oh, I guess he's not there for me anymore. You move on, find a new friend. Same with the bull market, all right? Up only. You know, I always expect it. Every time we come to the trend line, it's there for me to give me another pump, all right? Once it stops doing that, you move on. It's the same in the gym, right? You're doing the incline dumbbell presses. Every time you get a good pump, you keep making gains, strength gains, you feel good doing it. Then after it comes some time, maybe 8 weeks, 12 weeks, you realize, you know what? It just doesn't feel right in my shoulder anymore. I'm not making any more strength gains. I'm just not feeling the good mind-muscle connection. You gotta switch it up. Maybe go to the barbell incline bench press, right? Maybe do weighted dips instead. It works until it doesn't work. It's the same with the trend line, right? We got ourselves a hidden bullish divergence on the weekly. Every single time we get one of these, it marks the bottom. All right, literally of the pullback. It marks the bottom. However, when we confirm these green dots, we also inevitably always get a little bit of a pullback before the big pumperoni and queso. And case in point, look at this. We confirmed the dang green dot. 2 weeks of downside before the pump. All right, confirm the green dot right over here. Guess what? We got 3 weeks of downside before the pump. All right. So we confirm the green dot right here. We're coming into major resistance. We're going to get a little bit of a pullback for the pump. The pattern says yes. All right, now remember, we have a really nice bottom, bullish divergence. We've changed market structure, meaning we've made a higher high locally. So when you have a nice bottom with divergences, and then you break the downtrend, we had a local downtrend, high, low, lower high, lower low, lower high, lower low. We've broken that pattern. So now we can expect a higher low to come in. We should be looking for the higher low to come in when we get our first retrace, right? So yeah, we got bear divs here, but this is actually, in my opinion, this is just what we would expect. We're at major resistance. This is so major. This is the level that we've been looking at since we made that low back in April. So it's been a month of talking about this level. Here we is. We're getting a tad bit of a pullback, Aroni and queso here. All right. And yeah, so where are we looking to get a retracement to? Well, I think it's quite obvious. Let's go to the 4 hour, all right? And let's strip everything down, all right? We got to strip naked before we can reclothe. And that's true in life, all right? You can't change your clothes unless you strip totally butt naked. Let's go ahead and just put on our volume profile. Now look at this. This is the fair value zone of Bitcoin that has been established basically since Trump has won the election. And this blue line down here represents undervalued. Whenever Bitcoin drops below 89.3, Bitcoin is undervalued. Whenever Bitcoin pumps above 105.5, that's considered overvalued. The POC is considered fair price. Okay? Whenever you establish a fair value zone, as we did over here, between 89.3 and 105.5, you lose that area. Once you come back inside, probabilities are highest that you eventually make your way back to the top of that fair value zone. However, that doesn't mean we go straight up, right? We would expect, just like what price always does, it goes up and down and ziggity-zaggity. So if these bear divs play out here, we really need to be aware of a few key levels. First of all, as we've been consolidating the last week, we have liquidity below these lows. What do I mean by that? Well, the sentiment has been very bullish, and for good reason. But what this means is people have been leveraging longs, and they've been putting their stop losses and trailing their stop losses underneath these wicks. All right, what does this do? Well, this is another recipe for a massive liquidation hunt, aka a stop loss hunt. Because if we're going to get another big push to the upside, you have to understand it's money that moves the market. if we're going to get another push to the upside, well, we need buyers. All right. Now, here's the thing. If I'm trying to buy something, all right, let's say you have a really special, super special set of eyeglasses. All right. They're really special to you. You would never sell them ever. And I come to you and I say, you know what? I've got $3 billion. I'm going to buy these glasses from you. Will you sell them to me? You say, nope. Nope, they were my grandfather's, my great-grandfather's, my great-great-great-grandfather. Stole them from one of the British soldiers in the Revolutionary War. Almost died getting these glasses. I'm never going to sell them. Guess what? It doesn't matter how much money I have, you're not going to sell me those glasses. So if I'm a whale, a big player, and I want to buy Bitcoin, but ain't no one selling, well, I can't buy. So what do I do as a big player? Manipulate the price. When long trades get stopped out, guess what? You ever get stopped out? You know, you're outside doing something, hanging out with your wife, get a notification on your phone. Crap! What happened? Got stopped out my dang trade. And what does it say on your phone? Stopped out your long trade. It says sell order filled. Sell order filled. Why sell order? Because when you get stopped out of a long trade, it's a sell order. Now all of a sudden, because I got stopped out, my glasses are on the market. I sold them. And now a whale can buy them. And then they can build a big long position to pump the price. All right. So we always want to be aware of where the most people are going to get wrecked, because that's where the move is likely to happen, right? Like, great example of this would be, actually, this isn't the best example. It is, but it's hard to demonstrate the long trade that we took from last week. But a great example of this would simply be, you know, right here, right? Where are the most people going to get wrecked? Well, it's obviously stop hunting these lows. Or same deal, like up here, like where are the most people going to get wrecked? Well, it's obviously going to be from stop hunting these highs and then reverse the price. So whenever you see, especially, pay attention to this. When you see double bottoms, or even better, lows that are low and then a little bit higher and then a little bit higher, you have to think to yourself, these guys are still in their trade. When we make a higher low, now we have new stop losses. We make a higher low, now we have new stop losses. We're building the liquidity below. All of these guys are still in. It just takes one little scam wick to wreck them all. The more opportunities you have to wreck them all with one scam wick, the juicier that level, actually the higher likelihood of actually revisiting. So 91.6 right now is actually a pretty nice level. All right, just based on the chart. Now, where else is a nice level here? Well, obviously, it's going to be back down at 89K. Why 89K? Because 89K used to be major resistance. It was support all throughout the winter. Then, all of a sudden, in February, March, it flips into resistance. And what happens with support resistance levels is when you have a resistance and then you pump above it, it now becomes support. Why is this? It's called a retest. Why a retest? The market is testing whether or not we really want to consider Bitcoin fair priced back in this old zone again. Right? We're giving it a test. Let's test what happens if Bitcoin comes back down to this level where back in the winter it was considered undervalued. Are we still going to consider undervalued here? If yes, and the market decides this is low, this is cheap Bitcoin, we're going to get a bounce, right? So we're testing that level to see, is this move real or is this just hype? We come down to test whether that move is real or just hype. If we see a bounce from this level, this is showing us, wow, you know what? The market definitely wants to trade Bitcoin within the fair value zone of 89.3 to 105.5, which then means we have ourselves a setup here. When we see a bounce from this area, we're now longing support, and we can shoot for our next major resistance at the top of the fair value zone, right? So these are kind of like two areas. This is what I would be most interested in right now if we get some kind of a pullback within the next few days. Okay, now obviously there are other situations that we can entertain. And just a quick reminder to everybody here, make sure to like the video, make sure to like the stream. We got 1,200 people, only 200 likes. Can we get the likes up to the watchers? I just want to make a quick reminder. that when we come to these charts as traders, we're not here to make predictions, but we're here to basically look at potential scenarios so that we're prepared for things, okay? If you're in the Casper Crew VIP Discord, this is what we do. When we come in and we do our live streams multiple times a day with all our instructors, we say, okay, we know there's a key level of support here. This is actually a good example of the liquidity hunt, right? We had the low, we had the low, we had a level here, which were single prints. So what do? We say to ourselves, if the price comes to here and we see certain things on market Cipher, then we have a trade on our hands with a clearly defined entry, stop loss, and target, right? That's how you need to approach the charts always. I'm not saying we're gonna bounce from 91K or 89.3, but I'm saying if I'm looking for a long, and I am, these are the places I wanna be aware of. Because if I can narrow down the places I'm looking for a trade, then that eliminates over trading, that eliminates chasing price. How much money have you lost because you were chasing price? You were taking trades when you shouldn't have been taking trades. You should have come to the chart. You should have narrowed it down. Say, I'm looking for a trade from here, and from here. And if price isn't in one of those three places, I'm not taking a trade because I'm not going to give my money back to the market by trading against my plan, right? So when the price comes to the level, when we see the confirmations, boom! All right? Same with the other long trades we've been taking here. Same deal. All right? We've taken a few the past few weeks. We plan, we execute if we have our levels, right? That's what you got to do. So that's what I'm doing here. I'm not telling anybody to long. I'm not telling anybody that we're going to get a bounce. I'm saying personally for me, I'm looking for a long trade in this area. Now, if I don't see what I want to see, I don't take a trade. This is why it's so important to have a set of criteria that allows you to pull the trigger, right? Step one, identify where you want to take a trade. If I could make price action move, if I was the market maker, I would want to take a long from here. So step one, identify what I want to happen. Step two, identify what do I need to see on the chart in order to make me actually pull the trigger here. And for me, I use an indicator called Market Cipher. You could use whatever the heck you want. All right? You could use the full moon. You could use a coin flip. You could use the RSI or the MACD Arnold's, whatever you want. But for me, it's Market Cipher B. And I want to see really, do I see uneven butt cheeks? Do I see upside down uneven butt cheeks for shorts? You know? It really depends on what I see before I take a trade. Now, here's another thing we need to keep in mind. Yes, I'm bullish, but if we lose 89,300, then we need to recognize the fact that the new area that we are now looking for trades becomes this, right? Because if we can't hold the fair value zone, remember how important this is. $89,000 is the retest, right? The market is testing. Do we really want to consider this the fair value of Bitcoin again? If we fail the test, then we're back inside the fair value zone that we had established from February until the breakout, which means our new supports are going to be basically 84,000 and then down to 78,000, right? 84 and 78. And if we pull our fib from low to high, you can see that if we're going to respect the Fibonacci retracement, we get a deeper retracement here. The level that's most likely to be our support, just like how this area was most likely to be our resistance. And right now, I wouldn't say we're getting a rejection from here yet. We haven't even changed market structure or anything locally. But this now is going to be our area where we're most likely to get the higher low and form that nice rounded bottom. That nice rounded bottom. See how this works? Beautiful rounded bottom, higher low. Literally wreck everybody who FOMO'd long at the top, but still maintaining bullish market structure. And then we can get a bounce, right? So we got to take it level to level. Is price at a key level? If yes, then go and take a look at your oscillator. What do you see? You see this chick dancing okay, you got to trade. You don't see her? Wait until she comes. She'll come. She might take a little while to get there. Do you know how hard it is to walk with uneven glutes? It's very difficult. The left leg is so strong, but the right leg is so weak that it takes a long time to get there. So sometimes you got to be patient. You got to wait for your trade, man. You know? You got to wait for your trade. Now again, on Wednesday, I'm going to be live streaming. Okay, I got my suit, my tie, and everything. You can see here. We're going to be live streaming the FOMC. All right? So I'm expecting some crazy stuff to happen this week. If we start to dump within, remember, we have our weekly close today. So if we start to dump Monday, Tuesday, I would expect the FOMC to end in a big move down, which then gives us a reversal. If we just stay in this range here, I also wouldn't be surprised if we see something like this, like a pump and then a dump. All right, I'm just being honest. So I'm currently my preferred scenario right now is that we actually do come down a little bit lower here the next few days, so that we're very oversold leading into FOMC, so we can get a nice long. What I don't really want to see is, you know, consolidation here, and then because then we have the opportunity of FOMC comes along, we take the liquidity from like all these highs and then get a reversal, right? That's a little bit more of a bearish thing for me to happen. So I would prefer a move to the downside right now. Now let's take a look at our weekly time frame again. Let's remove the drawings, and let's just recognize the fact that if we can close this weekly candle above the POC at 97,000, that is very bullish, right? That is very bullish. A weekly close above this level is extremely bullish. A weekly close below that level adds credence to my bias that we're going to see some downside in the next few days based on our daily, our 12-hour, 6-hour, 4-hour bearish dips, right? So in 10 hours, 27 minutes, and 8 seconds, keep your eyes on this level. Now, this is the Bybit USD chart. Bybit BTC USD pair on Bybit. This is the chart I use. This is the level I'm going to be looking at, all right, over on Bybit. Over on Bybit. You know who taught me how to say over on Bybit? My man Carl. All right, over on Bybit. Shout out to Carl. Over on Bybit, man. We went to McDonald's in his Maserati. Ordered a Big Mac meal. It was one of the funnest days of my life. Our camera crew was there. We have a movie coming out soon.
Hello. I would like to get a Big Mac meal.
All right, one more thing we got to talk about here is the futures chart, okay? CME futures, we closed our candle at 97,505 on Friday. All right, we closed our candle 97,505 on Friday. What does that mean? That means we have a CME gap to the upside. All right, that means we have a CME gap to the upside. So this is something else to be aware of as traders. The CME gap to the upside, 97,505. That means, guys, when the market opens, in 10 hours, those CME gaps oftentimes do fill. So we are going to have ourselves a gap up here at 97,505. All right. So there's a really good chance, in my opinion, you know, today's a Sunday. Maybe we do something like this, come down to the low of the range. Maybe do something like this. And then if we do something like this tonight, tomorrow, that will give us more bearish divs. We could get that move down. And then leading into our Wednesday, we actually come down to some more key supports for a bounce. All right. Just an idea, just telling you guys where my mind is at, okay? Once again, I'm not here to make predictions. I'm just telling you how I'm looking at the chart, how I'm preparing for my own trades, which, as we say in Espanol, los trados. Los trados. Sí, señor. Los trados en la cocina. Y mi madre, y mi padre, y mis hermanos, y mis hermanas, el punto rojo, y mi gato. Yo quiero Taco Bell. Sí. Y mi sombrero es mucho grande. So shout out to everybody in the chat. Shout out to y'all. Make sure to like the stream. 1,200 viewers, 300 likes. You know what that does to a man's self-esteem? Absolutely ruins it. Absolutely ruins it. All right, we got a super chat in the house. Shout out to Crypto Scarface. He says, shout out to you, Jason. Been following you since 2020. Best content on YouTube. I am in the scalp short to 93.5. Nice, right down to the golden pocket, right? Is that the GP or is that the 93.5? Is that the local golden pocket? Let's see. Yeah. Yep. The local golden pocket. Is that also the POC? Let's check. No, it's not the POC. 93.5. Right around that golden pocket. All right, nice, man, nice. Yeah, so we are at key resistance here. Shout out to Crypto Scarface. Make sure to smash the likes, guys. Can we get the likes up to the watchers? All right, shout out to Elevated Mindset, who says Gary is so smart. Shout out to Two Big Paws, Liquidated which way, up or down? I'd say the answer is yes, always, right? Yes, always. But in general, I feel like down and then up. That's my vibe. That's my bias for this week is dump and pump. Dump and pump, wreck the longs, and then wreck the shorts. Wreck the longs and then wreck the shorts. That's what I am looking at. All right. That's what I'm looking at. Oh, man. What kind of music we got on the background right now? Major shout out to Code Magic. He sounds Venezuelan. Nice. Guys, you know what I just learned yesterday? I just learned that a stallion is a horse that still has testicles, a male horse. If it's no longer has testicles, it's no longer a stallion. I just learned this. I didn't know. I didn't know. Jason's bearish, so that means short. Okay, so here's something else real quick. On a Sunday right now, I am not privy, is that the word? I'm not really looking for a trade right in this moment, guys. I would like to see, I don't have a short setup right now, to be honest with you here. I would want to wait at least until we close that CME gap. All right. Shout out to the Whiskey Reaper. Imagine if 107K was the top and this is the last chance. Yep. This is the place where the last chance could be coming in. All right. Shout out to Trader Geo, my perma bear in the house. Hopefully it goes down to 0. Trader Geo, man. I hope it goes lower than 0. Shout out to Alex Wall. He says the uneven butt cheek girl walks around in circles. It's not her fault. Yes, she walks around in circles. It's hard for her to go straight. That's for sure. That's for sure. Why didn't I take the 98K short? We all had the confirmations. I wasn't at the chart, man. That's really the only reason. It happened when I wasn't at the chart. So I'm still in a short from 98.3. Believe it or not, from months ago. I'm actually still in a short from 98.3 from back in February, the middle of February. So it's kind of funny. I'm actually still in that short. So I wasn't in too much of a rush to get in short. But yeah, I wasn't at the chart, man. So here's the thing. My life has been pretty crazy lately, just with like things going on in my personal life. And it's really taken away my time from being able to trade and be at the charts. So I've had to make the decision that I'm not going to let it bother me, because in the past I've been so addicted to my chart and checking the phone, but I just can't do it right now because of things that are going on in my personal life. So if I'm not at the chart, I'm not going to be taking the trade. I'm not going to be checking if I have other responsibilities going on. All right. So that's why I didn't take the trade. I was waiting for it. If you're in the Casper Crew VIP, you know that when we were here, I said I'm not shorting yet because of how things look on the 24-minute market Cipher B. I said, literally my exact word was, let's pull up the Discord here. I'll tell you guys what I said. Because people were shorting, I said, look, maybe we're going to dump from here. I don't think so. I had said, yeah, okay. The last thing I posted, and I wish I was there for this move, but the last thing I posted was this. I'm watching the 24, I'm still not short. We're at the POC, which is important resistance. I just don't like how market Cipher B looks. I'd rather prefer consolidation and then another pump to get better bear divs. I'm watching the 24-minute market Cipher B. The money flow starting to come down as we consolidate here. I'm waiting for another push before the short. So we're right around here. I was waiting for one more push. If we go back to our chart, so right here is where I was waiting for the one more push. Okay, and then that happened at on Friday, which on Fridays I'm not at the chart at all. So unfortunately I missed the opportunity. But market Cipher B is my filter. Right here I can tell this is not the high. How can I tell? Because the money flow is still getting thicker, right? Once that 24-minute money flow, right around here, I said, look, money flow is starting to come out. That means our next big push is going to be the one. Exactly right. As the next big push happens, the money flow is getting so low here. That's the trigger. All right, that's the trigger. So yeah, unfortunately, I wasn't there to take the trade, but at least my analysis was spot on. And at least if you're in the Casper crew, I protected you from taking a short early here, and it gave you what I was exactly looking for when we get that next push. So shout out to the Casper crew, jasoncaspertrading.com. To join the best trading community in the world, we got 3 instructors live streaming multiple times a day. We have a whole beginner's course in there, and we're giving you our setups, our levels for multiple assets, multiple markets, and yeah, it's the best trading community in the world for the value. All right, big things coming soon for the Casper crew. All right, big things coming soon for the Casper crew. Am I getting divorced? I wouldn't be surprised. Nah, I'm not getting divorced, bro. Nah. I will never get divorced. I will never get divorced. You can hear the pump song coming. Really? Man, I haven't done the pump song in so long. If you're not at the charts, you may not fart. That's true. When I'm at the charts, I constantly fart. Shout out to Memory Man. 0 sounds like a nice price to buy. Seriously. Seriously. Megan Thee Stallion has balls? I would say probably yes, just based on the behavior. Shout out to Steve O. You're closing your short at 90K. That's a good place to close it. Stallions have diamond balls. A correction of the move down is coming right before continuation. So just to reiterate my overall bias here, now I'm not talking about I'm not talking about small time frame moves on the higher term time frames based on our daily, our 12-hour, 6-hour, 4-hour. I expect this week to give us a drop in price, culminating in a bounce. That's what I expect because of the bearish divergences that we have here at key resistance. Keep in mind, the high may not be in yet. I don't have a short trigger here yet for myself personally. I would have had one on Friday if I was at the chart, but yeah, that's what I expect. Now remember, it's a weekend. We could literally do this. Okay, we could wreck all these guys, and then dump. We could go straight down. There's so many things that could happen here. So remember, if you don't have an entry, you shouldn't be taking trades, right? Doesn't matter if you're bullish or bearish, you need an entry if you're leverage trading. Right? I could be bullish and have no long entry, so I don't take a trade. I could be bearish, have no short entry, so I don't take a trade. Okay, the market that he say, don't worry, Jason, you can have my wife. I heard you got a small farm with chickens and sheep. Got room for a pig. LOL, my man Mark Dutch call his wife a pig. Ha 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 ha. Shout out to the crypto killers. Bybit CEO said soon gold indices stocks to be traded on Bybit. No way. That's awesome. That is awesome. You lost your money on MEXC on a delisted coin? Yeah, same with me. It was actually Buttcoin, Princeton. It was Buttcoin. I lost my money on Buttcoin. You know? Shout out to a beer. What's going on, bro? Shout out to NetC. I'm long in 94,947, guys. Looks like a decent level to long. From church straight to the stream. Short from the highs. That's nice. That's nice. I'm bearish short at the top, accidentally close. Oof, I hate when that happens, bro. I hate when that happens. And that happens to me a lot, actually. It has happened to me a lot. I hate it so much. There's nothing worse than being in a good trade, trying to take a partial profit. You close the whole trade, and it's like oh my goodness, that moment of shock, the moment of despair, takes a long time to get over. Let's say you're short from the highs. You know, you're like, let me take a partial here, lock in a good profit, right? You're already at a 2-to-1. And then you close the whole trade. Oh my goodness, now what do? This? There's always the temptation. Let me get back in. And it's like, oh man, I can't do that. I can't do that. Of course, and it can go two ways. If you do this, guess what? Boop! If you don't do this, guess what? Right? So you know now, unfortunately, you can move the market. But no matter what way you decide to move the market, it's going to suck for you, right? Because if you do short again, stop loss above the high, boop. If you don't short again, stop loss above the high, boop. So you call your friends and tell them, hey, you guys taking any trades because I'm about to move the market. Shout out to Play, he says, I'm smart and cool. Well, thanks, man. It makes me feel good. I appreciate that. You know, I always think of myself as the coolest guy in town, you know? I have a shirt that says it, too. Shout out to Thor. Shout out to Crypto Coon. Shout out to Random Stuffs TV. We're going to 99.5, then down. Man, that's higher than I'm expecting, to be honest. Isn't B-Wave going to start here somewhere? I don't know. I'm not an Elliott Wave theorist. I believe in it, but I don't analyze with it. Shout out to the Goonies 51. Do I have a code for Bybit? Yeah, actually I do. I do have a code for Bybit in the description of the video, of the Bitget. I've got a code for Bybit in the description of the video. Alright, man, here I am again, straight Brit. Straight Brit once again. Got to give a major reminder, Antarctic Exchange. Sign up using the link, you get super VIP privileges, which is literally 0% limit order fees, 0.05% market order fees. Antarctic, guys, if anyone doesn't know, is a decentralized exchange that functions like a centralized exchange. It's purple and blue, which is amazing, and everything is held on your own wallet, right? No accounts being frozen, no KYC, no being hacked. It's all on your own wallet. And if you use the exchange, you own the exchange. You get paid part of the fee. We all share in the fees. If you use the exchange, even if you can provide liquidity, you can share in the liquidation fees, right? And it has the lowest fees in the game. It's going to be awesome. It already is awesome, but it's just going to get more awesome. It's a very new exchange, all right? Also, guys, BLOFIN, right now, centralized exchange. In my opinion, this is the place to be because they are giving you 0% limit order fees, VIP 3-level market order fees, which is like 0.04. And they're giving $100 giveaways every single month, 5 of them. 10% cash back, deposit $1,000, get $100. $1,000 future bonus, and a chance to win all these prizes. Honestly, it's actually a legit good deal over on BLOFIN. So, I'm also trading on BITUNIX, MEXC, WEEX. Still have that short open on WEEX. Alright, I'm on a whole bunch of exchanges. But honestly, my plan is to kind of move everything over to Antarctic in the future because Antarctic is so awesome that there's no need to use multiple accounts because everything is held on your own wallet and you can open up multiple trades for an asset. So I could be in like 7 Bitcoin longs and 4 Bitcoin shorts at the same time, same pair on the same exchange. I could open up a new long trade right now if I wanted to, you know? So, yeah, it's pretty cool. And eventually on Antarctic, you're going to be able to trade gold and indices and forex pairs and all that as well. All right, but it's a very new exchange. So we're going to make this thing huge. It's going to change trading because no KYC. It's not centralized. We own the exchange. No market makers, no scam wicks. It's going to be good, man. It's going to be good. Did I see the 4-hour hidden bull div yet on Market Cipher B? Let's check it out. There was a bullish div on the 6-hour. Let's check that out because honestly, I see bear divs on all these time frames. I see bear divs on all the time frames. So here's the thing. I think these bear divs still will play out, and they could absolutely culminate in hidden bull divs, right? Absolutely. So I think let's check out our 4-hour. I don't necessarily like this hidden bull div here. I don't like it. I have a feeling we're probably going to go for the lows, I'll be honest, eventually at some point this week. I just don't like the vibe of this. The reason why, guys, is because the daily has just confirmed a regular bear div. So a hidden bull div on the 4 hour with a regular bull div on the daily, for me, yo no comprendo, all right? No me gusta, no me encanta la gasolina. No me encanta la gasolina. Sí, señor. Sí, señor. Sam Price said the same thing. Okay, cool. Shout out to Sam Price. Shout out to Fit in Crypto. Sideways and down through May into June, like always, and pump into July. Yeah, could be. Like, we definitely got some bear divs here, but I've already given my outlook, you know, for the coming week here. For the coming week. Yeah, now we are talking like this. I don't know why, but make sure to like the video. Make sure to subscribe to the channel. Make sure to eat the bugs and be happy. Own nothing and be happy. Own nothing and be happy, which is why we trade perpetual future contract. We don't own the Bitcoin. We simply rent from the exchange. Just like in the future, you will rent everything. Your toothbrush. You will rent the toothbrush, dental floss. You will rent toilet paper. You rent it. And then you give it back to the company. They put it through the purification process. And then they give it back to another customer. Yeah. Yeah. That is what we do. What about the fact that we collected the liquidity from the upside? Shouldn't we ping pong back to the top? I mean, I'm kind of expecting, like, I sound like a German Indian. I'm expecting this 97.5 level to be hit at some point once the market's open again, futures market open again. Obviously, this is support right around here, 95K. But yeah. I should move to South America so I can practice my Castilian Spanish. Yeah, well, yeah, I don't know actually what style of Spanish my family speaks. I do my whole mother's side is Cuban, which actually go back far enough, they're from Spain, but my grandfather was born in Cuba. I don't know, do they speak Castilian down there? They probably just speak Cuban Spanish. Some kind of country Cuban Spanish. Yeah. 4 hours forming a perfect bullish Gartley harmonic. Interesting. ETFs open at 8 p.m. ES time. Yep. Can we look at EXO? We can take a quick look. Wow, we had quite a few longs opening up right down here. About 12 million longs opening up right here. I mean, overall, as we're under VWAP, open interest, flat, nothing really. So far, this is just, it obviously is a weekend, low volume, but so far we can see it's been pretty much a steady stream of shorts opening up, which is why we're getting the move down. So this does mean there are quite a few shorts actually to squeeze, leading back up to 97.5. So yeah, I actually do think we fill that CME gap, squeeze all these shorts that have opened up here on low volume weekend, you know. Am I still using Wolfpack? No, I'm not actually. I'm not actually using Wolfpack. Yeah. But anyway, guys, I gotta head out. God bless you all in Jesus' name. Make sure to like the stream, guys. We don't even have half the likes as the viewers. It does hurt the self-esteem, but I think I'll get over it. Lord willing, I will see you guys tomorrow. So take care of yourself. Trade smart. Trade safe. Make sure to always wear your Depends adult diapers. And I'll see you guys next time. Peace.